Hello and welcome back to the What If Universe. Today we are joined by Broken Ronin, previously known as animex if you've seen animex's What If content. So, Ronan, would you like to start things out by introducing your current channel actually to the audience and describe what it's all about?
Yeah, so what's up, guys? Broken Ronin here, and generally the content that I do on my Broken Ronin channel is your typical anime and manga analysis content, your manga breakdowns, anime discussions, your character analysis, with really me adding a little bit more of my own personal personality into things, especially this year. Certain reviews. One video or a new type of series I'm really getting into is where I interview actual mangaka and get their perspective on the manga like aspect of things, like the actual creation. So this year I'm really expanding to, instead of just narrowing myself down to like analysis, I'm really just broadening my horizons to really a lot of things that have to do with manga or anime that happened to interest me at the time. So
Now, earlier I brought up that you used to be known as animex. Can you describe a little bit what you used to do on your other channel?
yeah, so on animex, it was basically what ifs. More specifically, it was almost exclusively Naruto what ifs. I did throw in like other series here and there, like Bleach, and some other things every once in a while. But for the most part, I was basically a Naruto what if YouTuber.
Yeah, so for this interview, I'm going to try answer questions for your audience that they might have left hanging and advice possibly for other content creators. So to start things off a bit, what led you to originally making what if scenario content?
If I'm being completely honest, I just one day kind of just thought it'd be cool, like a random type of video. I think my first what if, I think it was a Dragon Ball one, ironically enough, but it was what if Gohan had trained during the 7 year like period between the Cell games and the Buu arc. And that was always one that had occurred in my mind, like how different would Gohan would be. I saw that that video did relatively all right, and I actually liked the topic, so I started doing another what if. The first Naruto one on the channel was what if Minato survived the attack on Konoha. And I noticed that those videos were something that I enjoyed, as well as doing very well view-wise, especially for the time. I was really small, like sub 1,000 subscribers. And once I started what ifs, I started just steamrolling through getting, thousands of subscribers really quickly and stuff like that. So it was a mix of, I liked doing it really intrigued me, and it was good for the channel.
So, what was your favorite what if while you were underneath the brand of animex that you did?
So it kind of, there's a bunch of reasons to like certain what ifs for me personally. Like, for example, what if Naruto had the Rinnegan? I liked a lot simply because that kind of put me on the map, if that makes sense. Like, that was the one that kind of blew up the most. That was like my first, above 100,000 viewed video. But the one I think I did the best on, the one that I think was just like the most accurate, or not the most accurate, but like just the best written, it was probably What If Naruto Had the 10 Tails. I really focused on actually giving Naruto a little bit of development there, and really focused on the actual storytelling and character that he would have gone through if he had actually an even greater beast inside of him.
It's pretty interesting. Do you have a least favorite what if that you made while you're still doing that channel?
I generally like most of the what ifs I do, or I guess I liked when I was doing them. One thing I noticed though, for me, it wasn't that I didn't like doing what ifs, it was just the rate I was doing them, and I guess and the rate I was expected to led me to burn out from doing them very quickly. Like, for example, I would do like 10 parts for a what if, right, within the span of 10 days, which was like usually like multiple hours of actual video of me putting out that week. So I would like to like break up the monotony of a certain what if. One what if that I liked doing a lot, but that I kind of just was jaded towards simply because nobody seemed to like receive it well, was what if Sakura was useful. I kind of like that one. And another one I don't like simply because of the quote unquote drama I guess I got into for it was what if Hashirama kept the Biju. Just because some other YouTuber, I'll just leave their name ambiguous for the sake of the video. Don't really want to call people out since it's not that big of a deal. Just like accused me of stealing the what if, even though I had never even really heard of them before, and was able to show them proof that I'd never even seen one of their videos. But that just kind of let me jaded to that. I just didn't want to get into that kind of like what if drama. It felt like there was no reason to, so I just those two are probably my least favorite simply because like I would put a lot of work into those for them to perform relatively badly.
Yeah, it's relatively interesting. So, as someone who used to make what ifs, do you have any advice you'd like to give to me or any other what if content creators that are still making what ifs?
Okay, so for one, I would say watch other what if YouTubers and see what commonalities they have. A couple I'd recommend. They're also my friends, just to let you guys know if that sways your opinion on my advice here. Tyler and Red Cloak are two people that do what ifs, and I say do them very well. They have certain things, I think, stylistic differences than me. For me, I take more of the like the reason I'll say this, the reason my what ifs would be so extended is because how detailed I would try to get with them. I don't know if that's what everybody's going for. I think my thing, the reason I blew up with what ifs is because my style was just so different. Like I would spend an entire part, not even on an arc of the series, like just in a specific mission or, specific aspect of Naruto or some other character's development, because I felt that that was very important to the story rather than going over the general plot synopsis. Like, okay, if Naruto had the Rinnegan, this, and this would happen. I would go over like the dialogue that would happen between him and things like that. So I went really into detail. And if that was something you enjoyed, I would recommend, I don't know if this comes off as arrogant or not. I'm not really trying to. But if you're looking for a style similar to that, I mean, the Anbu what if I did, the Ten Tails what if, the Otsutsuki one, and just some other of my more recent what ifs are the ones that I really had the actual, like, that's where I think I was getting better at actually writing stories and stuff like that.
All right. Yeah, I can agree with from the style of your content. It's a lot more long form than what I do. I think what I do is more of a mixture of synopsis, but also includes more jokes and satire to what I do. Like, if you've seen My Hero, My Life, so what if Deku became the Juggernaut, I make a joke that none of the heroes go save Bakugo because they just chose not to because All Might wasn't there. And I thought it was funny to say that. It's like, so all the heroes just stand there and do nothing. It's like, why? Because I chose to. It's like, realistically, they might have done something, but it's like, you know what? For the story to work, it's like they're not going to do anything. Which I thought
and
was
there's
funny.
all kinds of different styles. So I'm not trying to say mine is better or worse. It's just depending on your style.
I think each creator gets their own style on. I agree with that. All right, so is there something in the what if community that people should look out for, like bad experiences with our creators or a trend you don't like that's currently going on with what ifs?
I mean, I'm not too involved, I would say, in the what if community. I don't know if this comes as like a shocker or like surprising or not, but even when I was like really heavily into making what ifs, I would only watch Tyler and Red Cloaks and deal with that drama. Personally, stay out of that. But one thing I've noticed, I don't know if this is still a current trend, but it's weird sort of territorial nature that people have over what ifs, even though all of it is derivative of Naruto or whatever series you're choosing. Like, for example, as long as they weren't like literally stealing my video and uploading it somewhere else, I was perfectly fine with me, because one thing I don't, once again, since I'm not really in this drama anymore, I'm not going to name drop any YouTubers. I'll just be very vague. And I guess if they were part of that time or part of that fan base, they like to objectify a lot of the characters in the series, which I get it if it's for a joke, but like some of it gets really like creepy to me personally. I'm not really a big fan of that. And some of it, this is just more of the wacky side of the what if community, but you like, people will get really crazy with the what ifs, which is not honestly a bad thing. It's just not really my personal thing. I'm saying this even though I said what if Naruto got the Rinnegan was one of my what ifs, but stuff that was somehow even crazier than that, not really my thing. I like it a little bit more grounded than that, but to each their own in that department. But like, really just that, like, people need to understand, like, yeah, I get it. Sometimes you don't want people to copy or have similarities to your what ifs, but at the end of the day, you didn't come up with the idea to do what if Naruto did this or what if Goku did that and things of that sort. So I try to encourage people not to have such a hard stance on like on a what if that is derivative of another series being their own property.
Yeah, I can't agree with that. The only thing that I can't agree with is the idea someone just takes someone else's content and re-upload it. I have ethical issues with that, but I'm fine if someone takes the idea and just makes their own version, you know?
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't, like I said, whenever someone would do that, I would handle that discreetly. But there were, like the time I mentioned earlier, someone, like I had the same, like, what if Hashirama kept the Biju? And then they decided to, like, without talking to me personally, without having any proof, just straight out accusing me of stealing their what if, which, for one, I don't think I could really steal something that someone has no ownership of, but that's semantics. And for two, it's accusatory when I was able to, if they had just talked to me, like hit me up on Discord, I literally was able to, in about 5 minutes, show them proof that I did not watch or take inspiration from any of their videos. So I feel like people like to blow things out of proportions when it's not really that serious, not just in the what if community, but just in general.
Yeah, I've had my own experiences where people have accused me of stealing ideas, but with some what ifs, there's only so many ways you can keep the same setup for a premise, you know? Like for what if Stain trained Deku? You have to have Stain meet Deku at some point. You have to have certain story beats to happen, you know? Like it gets very interesting when you do a similar what if to another person, because eventually by I got to the fourth part of it, it changed directions from the person allegedly I was accused of, and I even said before, it's like, I said, like, plus Ultraman, he was the first guy to do it. I credited him for the idea, and I brought up what I disagreed with him, how he did his, basically. Because my issue is that at the time, in the beginning of the series, I don't think Deku is as charismatic versus Stain. That's my personal opinion. I feel like Stain is more upfront with his opinion. He's a lot more vocal with how he displays himself as a character, you know? And it's kind of like, I feel like he would be able to convince Deku versus the other way around, which plus Ultraman did. But that's just me. Yeah. Let's see.
But I guess before you move on real quick, one thing it just reminded me, but I don't, once again, don't want to name names, whatever. There's no point in getting into drama. That's, yeah. It's just people like to be very judgmental. One person in particular I'm thinking of, I'll just, like I said, leave it vague, but this person liked to be very judgmental of other people's content for no real good reason. I don't know. I felt it was a sort of jealousy thing, but I don't want to, once again, make accusations I can't back up. That's just one thing I noticed for me personally. But that's kind of a small thing in the big sea of what if content.
It's understandable. I think back a little bit with many of your what if scenarios officially no longer being in production. Are you going to allow other creators that you trust to continue them, like Tylern or other situations like that? Because I know Tylern, he allowed Dragonstar Productions to continue what if that he was no longer interested in. Or do you have something else in mind with those?
No, I mean, to be honest, it is my general stance on anything. If you want to continue the what if, like in your own way, like you pick it up where I left it off if you want, that's fine. There's no official like canon like person that I want to carry on the torch of my what ifs. Just if you watch this video, you want to make a what if and you want to continue it in your own unique way, I wish you well, right? I hope it does well for you. I personally wouldn't recommend it because unless you're just doing it for fun. If you're just doing it for fun, go crazy. But if you're doing it to try to grow and like be a real what if YouTuber, I wouldn't personally recommend it because I wouldn't try to stay in the shadow of another like creator who's not even doing it at this point. I would say take inspiration and then do your own thing and grow from it. I'm not saying you guys can't. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't. I'm just saying I wouldn't personally recommend it if you're trying to simply grow and become your own what if YouTuber. Like I said, if it's for fun, there's no specific person that has to continue it. There's no canon. There can be 7 different people that continue it in their own unique ways for all I care. So, you know, it's kind of free game for all you guys out there. I don't really mind either way. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I was asking this because I thought it was interesting when I saw Tylern allow Dragonstar to do it. And it was like a first that happened in the community. It's like, I haven't seen something before where a creator like literally gives another one permission, actually promotes it as if it was their own thing, you know? Like I think that to me is very showing of how Dragonstar grew as a creator, as well as how respectful Tylern was with the what if, knowing that even though he wasn't interested in it, another creator might want to pick up on it. But all right. So if there's one of the what if scenarios that's not finished that you like to see done, or make a short return and finish it, or allow another content creator to do it, do you have one in particular you would?
One in particular I would choose.
Like if there's one what if that's not completed right now that you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish it and then I'm gonna be done. Which one would you pick? Or if you let another content creator,
yeah,
like,
if I were, yeah, like hypothetically, if I were to get back into it or like finish this one and be done, it'd probably be the what if Naruto was in the Anbu, or what if Itachi adopted Naruto. Either one of those are ones that I think didn't get their finish, which I think was very important for them, but they were ones that I think had a lot of potential, and I'd be fine with other people finishing those as well. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, either one of those are really one of mine that I think had a lot of potential.
All right, I think that's understandable. Like in
I
general,
mean, I enjoyed it. So the thing is, I don't want to come off as arrogant. That's never the way I want to come off, right? But for me personally, this is biased, obviously, by me. But I felt like I'll say this, I'll rephrase it in a way that doesn't come off as like holier than thou. My style, I think, what worked for me, like the style of really like detailed long form worked for me. And that was the one that I enjoyed the most. I didn't see other people do that. So I think for me, I think it's cool to see that, but I feel like the what if community can go deeper into the actual writing. Not everybody has to do that. Not everybody has to want to. I understand. I would just think it's cool. It would be a cool thought to have people like write some really well thought out, maybe even like really well voice acted like what ifs. I think that'd be something cool. That was always something I might have wanted to do if I had continued down that road, like actually having different voice acted things and stuff like that.
I think the only person at the moment I can think who was doing that would be Plus Ultraman, because I remember I edited like a 40-something long video for him, but he basically did exactly what you described. He basically had voice acting. He made it relatively long and actually described things more detail. But I think what you do is a lot more, I would say even further than that, honestly, because what you do is you even highlight specific moments of a series versus other people still summarize what goes on. And honestly, I think it depends on what type of creator you are, because I feel like if someone just rambles on, doesn't have anything worthwhile saying, I don't think doing an episode by episode what if format wouldn't be that good anyways, from my point of view.
Yeah, I agree on that.
That's just me on
yeah.
that. I feel like if you go too long with something, then people might get annoyed. It's like, all right, you're on episode 200 of One Piece. We're almost there, but we're almost
dead. For me, it was always this. Okay, so I guess one thing I'll say, since this is an interview about this, is the main problem I have with personally making what ifs is the longevity of them, right? So it's kind of like this contradictory thing, at least what I experienced, that the fans want. They want you to continue old series and what ifs that they liked and enjoyed, while simultaneously you get less and less views as parts go on, right? I mean, if you were to take a look at my channel, you look at part 1 of What If Naruto had the Rinnegan versus part even 3, right? You could see a massive drop off, right? It's like looking at it now, right? Part 1 at 376,000, right? Part 2, just the second part, not even that far into it, had 171,000, right? Which is I'm not complaining, right? Obviously, those are a lot of views, but the point I was making
is like a third of the views gone, so I could understand that.
Yeah, so it was this weird balance of, I know in order to grow, I have to do new what ifs consistently, right? But I would have thousands of people commenting on several videos saying they want me to continue old ones. And it was really hard to get through that. You guys are contradicting yourselves, right? I can't grow if I have a series and then do that series until I completely finish it, because if I do, the growth is going to become stagnant and I'm not going to be able to go anywhere, right? And it was just this really weird, and that's why personally I made so many what ifs, right? I would make a couple of parts, I would realize the trend is going down a lot, and I'd make a new what if. It'd revitalize the channel, it'd grow. And another example, the 10 Tails what if. First one had 400,000, 460,000, second one had 200,000, right? That's a big drop off. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Those are still good views, but the drop off is the problem, I think. It's the fact that I can't grow reliably if I did what the people who were subscribing, if I did what they were asking me to. So that's the main thing I had, and kind of a big problem I had just with making content personally.
Yeah, I have similar problems to you, but it's a bit more weird, because what happened with me was I wasn't the best at starting off with stuff. So what I did was I remade stuff and they got decent amount of views. So I was like, okay, I guess people are happy with me redoing stuff. So I happened to just redo parts of my first what if series for what if Deku became a Green Lantern. And it's interesting because I still have part 3 I need to do, but the problem is the original script had so many issues with it Like I still have to rewrite stuff, but it's like, man, it's like how did people watch this originally and like it, you know?
Yeah,
That's
I
just me,
understand that. Definitely a lot of
but
what
it's
ifs.
interesting. Sometimes people don't like my newer stuff when it comes out, so it's like, okay, should I go back to my older stuff? I don't know sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Then again, sometimes you go too far out there with ideas, you know? But I guess here's a quick question here. Do you feel any regret for quitting making what ifs at all?
Not really, because the thing is, right? I quit, but I quit only in name. So like, if for some reason, right, I got the passion, like the fire to go back and do it, I don't think I'd have a problem hopping back into it. The thing is, oh, here's one thing I want to make clear. I guess it's a little bit of a branch off of this question, but I don't like, I'm not opposed to making what if them like in a vacuum, right? I'm not opposed to making what ifs again, right? For a while, I didn't want to do it. I fell out of love with it. I almost grew to hate it because of how much I did it and how much back and forth the fans gave me when I would take breaks for myself, right? But the thing is, like in a vacuum by itself, what ifs are still cool to me, right? The production value for them would probably be better now. I'd be able to do them better editing wise and stuff like that. The thing is, I just want freedom, right? The reason I decided I didn't want to do animex anymore is because I realized that my success on YouTube on that channel was, tied to what ifs, right? Clearly, if you look at after I stopped like doing what ifs, you can see that the views go down exponentially, right? And while the views weren't horrible, I mean they were fine, but they weren't reflective of the channel I built, right? Which was fine. I like to make clear that I don't blame people for not watching videos that they didn't subscribe for. Because I made a YouTube channel and wanted to become a content creator for the sake of being free to create content that I enjoy and that other people enjoy and do that for a living. Even though I liked what ifs for a certain period, I was naive in thinking that I could build a channel on what ifs and then later spread out the variety. What I realize now, I guess, as I've done it, is that I have to build a fan base that are cool with variety types of content now. And, you know, who knows, maybe in the future, I mean, I don't want to lead people on. I don't want to make people like, I'm not promising anything. I just like to make clear. Maybe in the future I'll do a what if, but in the way that I would do that is probably going to be a lot better than all my old ones. Like it'd be, I don't want to promise things, but it'd be way better than I do now just because my idea of content and my general standards for it are a lot higher at this. So
Yeah,
long
because I
answer
could
short.
tell. Yeah, I could agree with the editing aspect because that was the one thing I couldn't catch on with your older videos. It's like, don't get me wrong, I had bad editing when I started off, but I just really couldn't engage with the video, even though the story was good, you know?
Yeah. So long story short, I don't regret it because I feel like I could always go back to it. And I am really enjoying what I'm doing now. And I'm fine with getting less views in the short term in order to build that base that allows me to do variety in the long term.
Yeah, I understand. So I guess the follow-up question, do you think you let people down by leaving stories on a cliffhanger and not finishing them?
I mean, maybe it's possible. Like it depends on which way you're looking at it. Are people disappointed? I'd be willing to bet a lot that they are. Yeah, but I feel like the idea. So I think content creator and viewer are a symbiotic relationship, right? You know, whoever, you know, I produce content, they consume it, they get something they want, I get something I want, I get growth, they get enjoyable content, right? I feel like that's, I mean, that makes sense as how the relationship is between like the content creator and the viewer. So it makes sense that if I stopped creating content, I would stop expecting growth and, you know, continuation on YouTube, which I am expecting, right? So while you could say, yeah, I stopped making content, it's not like I'm now trying to still get the same thing from them that I was before. Like, yes, I did stop, yes, but that's kind of the relationship that was had either way, right? Yes, they are stopping. Like the relationship has just basically been neutralized, if that makes sense. I don't. If I'm being honest, it may come off as selfish, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I have to value my own enjoyment and happiness and future, I feel like, over other people if they're contradicting each other, right? And with these what ifs, having to do them exclusively was a contradiction to what I wanted to do. So I had to go with my gut and go with what would personally bring me happiness, which was branching out and doing something else.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I will say with me, honestly, like I still do what ifs and whatnot. A lot of people wonder why I do these art videos. Like, are you quitting what ifs and stuff? It's like, no, it's like the main thing that I give to my audience is that I give at least one what if a week. But for everything else, I want to keep it to whatever I want to post. So that way, there is more personality out there. Because what I've realized when I made what if content is even though I did put my personality into it, people didn't really know me as a person. So I kind of tried to fix that by doing interviews and other in-between stuff, so that way people who care actually about how I am as a person might engage more that way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But see, I'm going to cut a few questions here since you already answered earlier by just talking in general. So I guess another interesting question to keep on the animex channel. What was your favorite non-what-if video you made on that channel?
I'm not really sure. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think I made very many good non-what-if videos because the majority, like 90% of the videos on there are what-ifs, and the ones that aren't are either really early videos, right? Like they're like tier lists, or they're like debunking like weird I don't know, like debunking like weird things. A lot of them just weren't really high quality videos. I mean, just in general. Let's see. My favorite one would have to be one of the newer videos. I'm trying to see. Maybe biggest letdowns. Yeah. Maybe it was biggest letdowns in anime, I guess. May have been one that I kind of enjoyed making. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like that any one of the newer videos is probably one of my more favorite just because I was a little bit more competent with what I was doing, I guess. But in general, I just think I developed so much since like the content I was making over there that it's kind of hard to even compare, like, because my standard of quality now versus then is like so night and day, I guess.
That's understandable. Do you have any plans actually to upload some of that non-what-if content to your newer channel, maybe by remaking it or looking at the concepts that you like and have discussions about them, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Already have some things in the works that are, I guess, revamps of the older content. Talking about Record of Ragnarok, talking about a lot of things. Couple of series that I did on here, like not what if related obviously, but like video series that I did on here that I did like the concept of, simply the execution was poor. So I'm going to be trying that on the new channel and seeing if I can make the execution and the overall like content better.
All right. I thought that was an interesting question. Ask about, speaking of interesting questions, while you're currently not making what ifs, will you still consider collabing with people who still make what if content?
That's an interesting one because I'm not 100% sure. The thing is, nobody's just asked me to do what ifs just because I've said I've kind of like drawn a line in the sand that I'm not doing them. So I don't know. The thing is, when I do a what if, right? Like, even though I don't plan on being a what if YouTuber, if I'm doing one, I want to do one to the best of my ability. So I don't want to get sucked back into that hole of like the grind of scripting 6+ page long like scripts per video. I just feel like if I were to make a what if, I would give everything I have into it, and I wouldn't want to mislead people to make them think I'm flirting with the idea of making what ifs still, because I'm really not. Now, at least not at this current point in time. So I probably, the safe answer would probably be no, unless like very special circumstances were to happen.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna try to get to. So basically, if a particular person pitched you something that it's like, man, I want to do that, or something like that, you know, like that's what I'm talking about. So
yeah, I mean, depending on it, I would.
Yeah, I was trying to phrase that properly. Let's see. I guess you already answered this. Are there any what if content creators you like to recommend to your what if fans? The people used to like your what if content or still do?
Yeah, for sure. So Tyler and Red Cloak both do it. They're my homies, and I feel like they make some really good content that is in a style that I like. I personally enjoy those. I've looked around, and while I can't say I've like dove into the depths of the what if community, right? The few I do see, like, because the thing is with what ifs, there's a lot of the times there's just a few big creators and then a little bit that fall under that umbrella. So Tyler and Red Cloak would be the main ones that I would shout out. Personally, just because those are my personal favorites to watch. I can't really recommend too much else, just simply because I just don't have that much. I don't have really much of a body of knowledge to pull from in order to recommend you things. I'm sure there are plenty of other good and great what if YouTubers out there. I just wouldn't be aware of them.
Which is understandable, considering that you left the community not a while ago. So if I asked you sooner, you might have known a few more. But I'm sure as time passed on, you probably forgot about a few of them. So this is a more deeper question I want to ask. So what's something you want your fans of your animex channel to take back from watching your content?
Ooh, what do I want them to take from it? I mean, what I would say is YouTube is a mixture of a lot of things. Passion, I think, speaks very loudly to people. Obviously, you can look at the like actual logistics of YouTube, titles, thumbnails, tags, all that good stuff, right? All the logistics. But what I've noticed is I was very passionate about what ifs, right? And I feel like my passion shone through the videos, and that was something that was very unique, which is why I grew so quickly in the what if community, like relative to other what if YouTubers, I guess you could say. So I would just say, if you're really passionate about something, passionate to the point where you can make videos on it and you feel like you can make that every day, try it out, right? YouTube is, I don't want to say it's not that hard, because that's not even close to being true. It's extremely hard. It's extremely draining, right? I don't want to give you guys a misconception that it isn't, but it's also very rewarding. You'll meet a lot of people that are really cool. I've met some really cool friends. I met obviously Tyler and Masked Man, Red Cloak. A lot of people I wouldn't have gotten to meet if I did not do YouTube, right, and the anime content in particular. So I do recommend, if that's something that is interesting to you, take that first step and just dive into it and see what you can get out of it.
Because I'm pretty sure a while ago, Masked Man quit doing what ifs. In fact, I haven't been able to see any on his channel actually. So.
Oh yeah, no, he stopped quite a while ago.
Yeah.
The thing is, he was never really a what if YouTuber. He did them like occasionally, kind of just sprinkled them here and there. So.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, even when I checked his channel not too long ago, like, I didn't see anything. So that'll be something I'll ask him later, because that's going to be an interesting story for sure. I'll see how that goes. So this is a pretty interesting question, more towards passion. So what led you to keep making content instead of just giving up entirely?
Oh, for YouTube in general?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay. I mean, if I'm being honest, so the thing is, it's a mixture of some of the hardest things I do with some of the most fun. Like, I really do enjoy just the idea of being able to create content that I like and making a living out of it. Is just something that's really cool to me. Like that idea of freedom, right? I feel like being a YouTuber is one of the most free occupations you can have. And since I've seen a glimmer of success, right, I want that again, and I want that in a more free version. So that's just really what I'm going for. With everything I have, hoping I can, reach it and achieve it. The goal is to surpass animex this year, but I guess we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty strong goal for sure, because you have to surpass yourself, I guess. That's something I never would think about. But all right, so something I want to switch over here is to, what advice do you have for people who either feel like quitting making what if content or just want to quit YouTube in general?
So it depends on your reason. If you're about to quit because you're not seeing success right now, I would say be patient, right? Keep putting in that work, keep doing your best, right? Because for me, it took me about 6 months of like just straight not having any success, not doing very well, low views, low subscriber count, all that stuff, until I found what worked for me. If you're thinking about quitting because you just fallen out of love with YouTube and that's not what you want to do anymore, that's perfectly fine. I think it's okay to not do things that you aren't interested in. I would like to say this to you, because while you can be thankful for your fans, you need to be thankful for them. You don't have an obligation to them, if that makes sense. You are your own person the same way they are their own person. You need to handle what makes you happy, what satisfies you, just as much as they need to do that for them, right? So if that requires you to take a step back from making content, then do so. But for all the people that are, like trying to transition maybe out of what ifs, I guess you could say, there's 3 ways to go about it. You can go the me approach and, just completely stop on one channel and dedicate yourself to another one. That's a possibility. I wouldn't recommend it unless you're a very competitive, like very hardworking person that's willing to fail or like go back to square one, I guess. The second one is the post alongside your what ifs, right? So if you're making what ifs, make sure to sprinkle other types of content in there as well. Make sure it's searchable, make sure it's relevant. That way you can kind of build up 2 separate like types of content that work for you. And the third one is making a completely new channel that is dedicated to that type of content. So it just depends on your style and what your preference is, but all of these 3 things are viable depending on the type of person you are.
All right, I think that'll be really helpful for people who feel in that position. So is there anything you want to tell my audience before we end?
I can hear you.
No, my bad. Let me re-ask that question. Is there anything you want to tell my audience before we end?
I mean, let's see. Watch what ifs, guys. They're pretty fire. Yeah, that's
All right.
I
We'll
mean,
cut
like
it there,
anything in
I
particular.
guess. Do you want to plug your channel and stuff before we end here? I guess I'll say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Broken Ronin. I'm assuming a link will be left in the description. If not, that's perfectly fine. Just look up Broken Ronin. I should
I'll
pop
put
up relatively high on the list.
I'll put the end card here. People click on
Okay.
that. I think.
Appreciate it. But if you
I'll probably do
guys like
a pinned comment
general
as well.
anime, gotcha. If you guys like general anime and manga analysis content, as well as some probably other crazy stuff that's going to be thrown in there, subscribe, watch some videos, give it a chance. You know, you can always unsubscribe later if you hate the content. But in any case, you know, hope you guys enjoy if you do check it out.
Anyways, that was Broken Ronin / animex. If you were curious about either of those channels, I will link both of them in a pinned comment here, so that way you can go check them out. Anyways, this has been Drew from What If Universe. Always remind you, in What If Universe, there are endless possibilities, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hello everyone, Uncle Joker here. Make sure to subscribe to the society if you want to see more content, and use those opposable thumbs of yours to rate the video. If you want to be notified whenever I make a joke, hit that bell, because, you know, YouTube isn't enough of a joke as it is. Until next time, toodaloo!